Imagine a land so vast that it spans 11 time zones. A land where winter temperatures plunge deeper than almost anywhere on Earth, where empires rise and fall, where revolution reshaped the world. This is Russia. From ancient trading hubs to Tsars and Soviet superpowers, and its rise again to modern influence, this is Russia's story. Russia's story begins not with Russia as we know it, but with a medieval federation of East Slavic tribes called Kyivan Rus, centered around the city of Kyiv. Founded in the 9th century, it became the first organized East Slavic state. The Vikings-inspired rulers, called Varangians, especially Oleg of Novgorod, seized Kyiv around 882, making it the capital of this early state. Here, in 988, Prince Vladimir the Great adopted Orthodox Christianity, shaping religion and culture across the lands that are now Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. After the 12th century, Kyivan Rus began to decline. Internal feuds and invasions weakened it, and the land splintered into dozens of principalities, including Novgorod, Suzdal, Tver, Polotsk, Ryazan, and others. Cities like Veliki Novgorod, a major trading state, flourished independently before being absorbed into the growing power of Moscow. But then came the Mongol invasions, 1237–1240, reducing many cities and consolidating power eventually under Moscow's rule. Moscow rose as a dominant center. Ivan III the Great freed the lands from Mongol rule by 1480, laying foundation for a unified Russia. His grandson, Ivan IV the Terrible, crowned himself the first Tsar in 1547, expanding territories deep into Siberia and northward. But his reign was marked by internal terror and upheaval, a period known as the Oprichnina. After a chaotic era called the Time of Troubles, the Romanov dynasty took power in 1613, leading Russia for the next 3 centuries. Peter the Great, 1682–1725, modernized Russia, built a new capital, St. Petersburg, and turned Russia into a European power. Under Catherine the Great, Russia expanded through wars and diplomacy, becoming one of the largest empires in history. After World War II, the USSR became one of 2 global superpowers alongside the United States in politics, ideology, and arms race. The Cold War defined the 20th century. But by the 1980s, reforms like perestroika and glasnost under Mikhail Gorbachev aimed to transform the Soviet system, ultimately weakening it. On 26 December 1991, the Soviet Union formally dissolved, splitting into 15 independent countries, including Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and the Baltics, among others. Today, Russia is the world's largest country, spanning nearly twice the size of Canada across 11 time zones. It stretches from Eastern Europe deep into Northern Asia. Its climate varies drastically. Arctic deserts and tundra in the north, deep forests and steppes in the central zones, harsh Siberian winters with extremely low temperatures, making life and settlement difficult but breathtakingly beautiful. Russia's major cities include Moscow, the capital and heart of politics, culture, and history. St. Petersburg, the imperial city of art and architecture. Novosibirsk, Siberia's largest city. Kaliningrad, a unique western enclave detached from the mainland. Smaller historical cities like Veliki Novgorod and Yaroslavl reflect Russia's ancient roots. Russia is known for ballet and classical music, literature, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, vodka and caviar, traditional folk arts and onion-domed cathedrals, World Heritage sites like the Kremlin, Lake Baikal, and Kyivan Rus. By the early 20th century, the Russian Empire looked powerful from the outside, but inside, it was cracking. Hunger, inequality, and war were pushing Russia toward the biggest collapse in its history. In 1905, Russia faced its first major revolution after military defeat and economic misery. Although the Tsar survived, public anger never disappeared. By 1917, World War I destroyed the economy. Millions of soldiers died, food shortages spread, and cities like Petrograd fell into chaos. In February 1917, Tsar Nicholas II abdicated, ending over 300 years of Romanov rule. Later that year, in October 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power and promised land, peace, and equality. After the revolution, Russia plunged into a brutal civil war between the Red Army, Communists, and the White Army, Royalists and Anti-Communists. By 1922, the Communists won. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, was officially formed. USSR consisted of 15 republics: Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. Russia was the largest and most powerful republic, controlling Moscow, the capital of the USSR. After Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin took control. He transformed the USSR into an industrial and military giant. Factories, railways, and weapons were built at massive speed, but at a terrible cost. Millions died due to forced labor camps, famine, and political purges. Despite the suffering, the Soviet Union became one of the strongest nations on Earth. In 1941, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. The war became known as the Great Patriotic War. Battles like Stalingrad changed history. More than 27 million Soviets died, but the USSR defeated Nazi Germany and emerged as a global hero. After World War II, the Soviet Union became a superpower. After the war, the world split into two camps: the United States and the Soviet Union. This was the Cold War, a battle of ideology, nuclear weapons, space race, and influence. The USSR controlled Eastern Europe, built nuclear missiles, and sent the first human into space, Yuri Gagarin, in 1961. But internally, the system was slowing down. The economy struggled, corruption grew, and people lost hope. In the 1980s, leader Mikhail Gorbachev introduced reforms called Glasnost, openness, and perestroika restructuring. Instead of saving the system, these reforms weakened central control. In 1991, one by one, Soviet republics declared independence. On 26 December 1991, the Soviet Union officially collapsed. Russia emerged as a separate country, inheriting most of the Soviet military, nuclear weapons, and international power, but also its problems. The Soviet Union was gone, but Russia was still standing, wounded, confused, yet dangerous. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the world believed Russia was finished. But history had other plans. Russia was about to reinvent itself, once again. Russia is the largest country in the world, covering more than 17 million square kilometers. It stretches across Eastern Europe and Northern Asia and spans 11 time zones. Russia shares borders with 14 countries, making it one of the most strategically placed nations on Earth. Its vast land includes mountains, forests, frozen tundra, rivers, and endless plains. Because of this size, Russia has enormous natural resources: oil, gas, coal, and minerals. Russia is famous for its extreme cold climate, especially in Siberia. In winter, temperatures in Siberia can fall to 40 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Some villages remain frozen for months. Rivers and lakes turn into solid ice. Cities like Yakutsk are considered among the coldest inhabited places on Earth. Yet, southern Russia also experiences warm summers, showing how diverse Russia's climate truly is. Russia's most important cities include Moscow, the capital, political and economic center; St. Petersburg, cultural and historic capital; Novosibirsk, the largest city in Siberia; Yekaterinburg, industrial and historical hub; Vladivostok, major port city near the Pacific Ocean. Each city reflects a different face of Russia, from imperial beauty to modern industry. Russia is home to some of the world's most iconic landmarks: the Kremlin and Red Square in Moscow, St. Basil's Cathedral with its colorful domes, Lake Baikal, the deepest freshwater lake on Earth, the Hermitage Museum, one of the largest museums in the world, Trans-Siberian Railway, the longest railway line in the world. These places attract millions of tourists every year.
Today, Russia is officially called the Russian Federation. The country is led by President Vladimir Putin, one of the most influential and controversial leaders of the modern era. Russia holds significant power due to one of the largest nuclear arsenals, strong military forces, control over major energy supplies, permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. Russia continues to play a major role in global politics and conflicts. Russia's story does not end here. From ancient tribes to mighty empires, from revolution to superpower, and from collapse to comeback, Russia has always rewritten its destiny. But the real question is, what comes next for Russia? Because in history, the most dangerous nations are not the ones that rise, but the ones that survive.